because that's what we really want. This is small town USA, and we want people walking from shop to shop. That's what we're trying to build. So this is the beginning of it, and it's hard. And the city has planted the seed. So, just folks like me wanting to get involved and try to do what we can to revitalize the city. And it's an exciting time.
Yeah. Strong Dads wants to thank Quality Auto Mart and Service for being a proud sponsor of the Strong Dads podcast. Started in 1985 and going strong for all these years. Recently, Quality Auto Mart has transitioned from owners of Mark and Nancy Repke to longtime employee Fred and Lorraine Venus. For all your automotive needs and golf cart needs, check out Quality Auto Mart, located across from Indian Lakes on Highway 46 outside of Batesville, Indiana. All right, take us down to the ice house.
Okay.
In the meantime, I think it's just worth talking a little bit about the town here of Lawrenceburg. You decided to invest a little bit more in the town. Why did you do that?
Well, I think as I kind of retired from my first career, I started wanting to get more and more involved in the community and getting involved with people in ways that I could just help folks. So I started coming downtown and I saw a lot of opportunities to make things nicer. And I wasn't the first person, I started seeing things that were happening downtown that were nice, like our friends at Strong's Pizza, the business they opened up, and all the work that the city council, and Kelly Milan, the mayor, was doing downtown. And I thought, there's some neat things that could happen. So I started to look at stuff and purchase real estate and, a business down here. So that's how it got started.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it all kind of really started in the Lawrenceburg area, just whether people want to admit it or like it or not, when they brought the gambling boat in, and it kind of brought life back into this old decrepit town, didn't it?
Yeah, I think what it is allowed is consistent investment. And I think as the city government's gotten better and better at seeing where to invest that money, it's bringing the city back to life.
Yeah.
And that's what you see here happening. And so it allows people that are investors to put money into things and to be able to make them something pleasant for the community, desirable for the community to come down here. So it's just putting the puzzle pieces together one at a time, and you have a lot of people that are trying to do that.
Yeah, definitely shown, like right over here, there was never such a thing as this, but now we have the event center, which was, I think that's probably about 10 years old.
It is. And it's a beautiful event center. And, every time they have an event, all the businesses in this community thrive. So it's a really nice thing.
Yeah. And over here, we got the Ivy Tech building. And all on the other side of that building is the Ohio River. So there's a lot of different things in Lawrenceburg that are just attractive to people and grab people's attention. So,
yeah.
All right. So we're almost at your next.
Yeah. These are two buildings that I worked on and fixed up.
Okay.
This building here, and this beauty salon, Brooke, who has this beauty salon, has been really successful downtown. It's kind of a high-end one. And then we have an apartment with a mother with 3 children living upstairs in a nice apartment. And then this was an old tattoo parlor, if you remember.
I do. Yeah.
And we remodeled that. It was pretty decrepit, and we remodeled that. And the apartment up above. We have a single mom living up above.
And we have a dog who's really happy.
Yes. That's the local music shop.
Yeah. Okay, so we're getting close to the ice house.
Yeah, one thing I see that's really unique down here, and I don't know to what extent you've been part of it, but the new and the old kind of construction. Obviously looking at the event center, and then on our right, you can see the older type construction. I mean, how much is that kind of the allure of kind of bringing people into Lawrenceburg, kind of having a new and the old feel? Is that part of kind of the excitement of Lawrenceburg?
Yeah, I think it's a big part of it. There's a historical committee that, wants to preserve the old feel of this town. And so being able to bring those things together and preserve that is important to everyone.
Yeah.
All right, so here we are at the Ice House.
This was originally a Studebaker dealership.
Wow.
And my friend Mike Rezzo and his father ended up purchasing this building, running a construction company out of it. And then it was was a reputation for kind of a rough bar. And our desire is really to be in the food business. We do sell alcohol, but that's what we want to do, to have exciting food. We want to be foodies, and we think about having friends at our table. So we kind of put this in place. This will be our third year of operation, and obviously it's wintertime, so it's shut down, but we put real AstroTurf down. It's dog friendly, so you could bring your dog. And so people can sit out here with umbrellas and enjoy the outside. We have fire pits and we have live music in the summertime. So that's what you're seeing here. Obviously, we don't do that this time of year, but here we have a restaurant and that we're open 7 days a week.
Yeah. I actually remember this building as a bike shop.
Yeah, the back of
bike shop.
That's exactly it. There was a very small bike shop back there at one time.
Yeah.
And I think when I got involved, it's really when I bought Proof. So they had, some people had started on this building, and I got involved to put the money in it to finish this building, to do everything it needed to do to be a restaurant, like put the coolers in, the freezers, the cooking equipment, the tables, all that stuff.
Yeah. All right. So where do you want to take us now? You got another building you're working on? Or?
Well, I do, about at the end of that street. So that's probably a half a mile walk. But I finished a house. I was telling you earlier, when I looked at that house, there were actually drug needles on the side of that house.
Oh, yeah.
And it was all torn down, boarded up. And I just love fixing stuff like that. And so we went in, turned it into a beautiful little home. And the garage, the roof had caved in on the 2-car garage, and there was a vulture living in there. And there was a snake up there, too. And so my buddy Gus ran those things off, and we built an apartment on top of that, or a house on top of that garage.
Wow.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And so we have a young family living in the front and a single older woman living in the back. And I feel great about that. Beautiful house. The people that live around it can go, hey, they can be proud of it. And these are the things that start people investing, saying, maybe I can make my lawn a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
Maybe I can make my house a little better. But that's a lot of fun. One of my favorite things to do is to buy broken stuff and make it nicer.
Yeah,
That's cool.
that's pretty cool.
I like it.
This was a Studebaker dealership. They went right in there, in here. I know you can't see it. Underneath that table is the pit where they would stand there and change oil. You want to go in there?
If you want.
Yeah.
Look at that. Nice.
But this is my buddy Mike's dream, and underneath that, that'll be lit up eventually, and we'll put some cool stuff down there. But that's the pit where they used to pull Studebakers in here and actually change it.
Yeah.
Work at them from underneath.
Wow.
We have multiple big tables. We have families that sit at these tables, and I didn't like the idea at first, but Mike liked it, and we did it, and it's really cool to see big families sit here and enjoy it. We have one here and one in there. That one was made out of a bowling alley. This bar was made out of an old bowling alley. So we cut that and put that in there.
Was it a local bowling alley here in our area?
I really don't know, to be honest with you. But it's people like to come in here and have lunch, walk down here. Keeps people in the town. And so a lot of friends meet here.
Yeah, very cool.
There's your fire costume.
Yeah, that's right. Let's take us back into Proof, and we'll. You think we could have lunch today?
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's all about. I mean, I want to interview you and everything, but it's really all.
It's just all about the food. It's all about Merle getting his food.
This building was an old firehouse. You see the bell up there?
Yeah.
And upstairs was the police station. And I'm not perfect on all the history, but you can see those bars.
I see the
that was
bars.
a holding cell, and it's still there. It's really cool. The door's all steel. And so Mike Rezzo and Darren Harris in the city collaborated on that. Brian Messmore with the city, and they did that. And I think the restaurant Strong's and Proof were the two keys to bringing excitement to this city. Without those investments being made and that excitement, that to me, that's a lot of the spark. I mean, I know the casino, but when you talk about regular people getting involved in the city doing something, this and Strong's is, hey, we can do something here.
Yeah.
So really key to me to getting involved in the Ice House and getting involved in this building next door.
All right, I'll say it again. Welcome to Strong Dads Doing Real Life. And so now we are inside Proof 124, and we are with the owner and our man, Tony Schroder. Tony, first off, thanks for lunch, man.
It was good. It was very good.
Now, if I fall asleep in the middle of this, you'll know why.
I know we got full belly, and now we got to sit down and get some conversation going.
Yeah. Well, we want to thank you just for joining us. You were on our Strong Dad show quite a few years back, talking about some things. But we're doing some things differently now, and that is actually seeing what men actually do.
Yep.
And so if you haven't already, guys, go back and watch the first part of the show here where you actually kind of showed us where your heart lies. We walked around through the city of Lawrenceburg.
Yeah.
And where you've kind of had a passion to bring life back into what was fading or nearly dying, right? And to revitalize. And in particular, you've got a niche for the restaurant business, right? And so we just want to thank you. But we're going to get into a little bit of that.
Okay.
The question kind of always is when we do Strong Dads Doing Real Life, so what's God got to do with all this? Why are you still doing this?
Right.
You could do other things.
Right.
Why are you beating yourself up with starting restaurants, which there's a lot of other ways to make money?
And like we talked about, it's also very difficult.
Yeah.
We were talking about what we're eating, how it can be difficult at times.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So what's going on with that, and where's God?
Well, I guess I have to start that I have an eternal perspective, and that is that every one of us will live forever. And if we want to live with God, we do that through Jesus Christ. So that's clear in my mind. So along with that, I don't believe in retirement. I will never retire. Even if I'm sitting in a nursing home, God will have something that I can provide, and that's on my mind. So the last time I was with you guys, I talked a lot about intersecting with young men and trying to help them achieve their dreams. And a lot of the same thing has happened in the restaurant business because I'm involved with lots of different people, young men and women that have dreams. And even more importantly, they have bills to pay.
Yeah.
They have children. They have life. And so for me, where does God play a role in this? Well, I think God expects me as a Christian businessman to behave a certain way in a world that doesn't always want you to follow the rules, pay your taxes properly, maybe care about people in the way that we want to try to care about people.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. So, we talked before about you starting restaurants, and in the restaurant world, you have a lot of customers, a lot of clients, but you also have a lot of employees.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you know how many employees you have offhand?
I would say 125.
125 employees.
Yeah.
All right. And so in the restaurant world, you get a lot of people working in that world are people who are trying to make a living. A lot of moms, right? A lot of ladies there, whether they're waitressing. You've talked about how you can feed into their life as well, more than just a paycheck.
Yeah.
Why is that so inviting and interesting to you?
Because it's not enough just to work with people. Being someone who spent almost 30 years in a career in a company, you start realizing the people you work with are your family.
Yeah.
They are, I think when I get up in the morning and my wife and I, we pray together and we go out in the world, we realize the people that we intersect with every day are the people that God wants us to try to help, care for, love. I don't always do that the best that I could. I'm sometimes ashamed that, some of those, getting upset and things like that. But the reality is, whoever I intersect with today is who's God put in my path to do something positively with.
Yeah.
And so that's important. So we met a young lady who's going to have a baby April 7th, right?
Yeah.
And we talked to her, and she's a great employee. And, I think about, I told her I wanted to pray for, her pregnancy, but I also think about, what could we do as a family, as a restaurant family, nice to show her appreciation for doing a great job and having a baby, and that what could we show to love her? And those things are in my mind. So God put that in front of me today. And I had to write it down and make a note, but that's something that I'm paying attention to. So these are the types of things that happen in life.
Yeah.
We also, I showed you some of the real estate I've purchased. I probably have 8 or 9 families in renting real estate from me that work for us. And I love that because I get to see the kids at Christmas, a lot of things that are going on, a lot of the challenges, and trying to provide, as nice as I can, a place for the money for them to live. And these are just ways, just trying to be involved in their life and look for opportunities to help.
Yeah.
Well, I will say one thing that I noticed, speaking of the young lady that's pregnant, you put it in your calendar. When her due date, and something that I believe in, my wife and I, we talk a lot is if you want to know what a person's about, look at their calendar and their bank account. And the fact that you prioritize one of your employees, to you may not be, that big of a deal, right? For her, it's a life altering. And we talked about how your life will never be the same, right? The fact that you prioritize what's going on in her life by putting in your calendar, I think says a lot about who you are and that relational aspect that you kind of touched on a little bit.
Right. My youngest son said something very wise to me yesterday when we were talking up here. We have a business meeting here. He said, "Dad, the way I look at it, I'm here to serve. I serve people, and they know it, so I'm able to work well with them. And I think the same thing about us, and that's how I'm here to serve.
Yeah.
All the things that you need to survive in life, they will come when you serve and love other people. They really will. Yeah. I've never felt abandoned by my community or people. People rise to the occasion when you're in trouble if you try to serve. And guess what? I didn't figure that out. Jesus Christ taught me that. Yeah. I read that in the Bible. Yeah. That's where it came from. And a lot of people, you guys have modeled that for me, and lots of people have modeled that for me. And I'm just trying to do my part to model it for others.
Yeah. Tony, I can't help to think that as a businessman, and you've had some reasonable success on the financial side of that there are naysayers out there. That there are people who would think, yeah, Tony's always got a motive, or Tony's trying to turn a buck, or Tony's all about the money, or whatever. It just seems to come with the turf of being in the business world, or at least people seeing you as successful. How do you respond to that people think that they question maybe your motives?
Well, I think it's something that all of us have to be cognizant of. And I have to respond the way Jesus would call me to respond, and that's with love. Don't always do it well, but it's a reality of the world that we live in, and I can't really get away from it. But, when you focus on helping other people, that noise kind of goes away. Yeah. I'm not waking up wondering who's talking bad about me or who's whatever, because I'm too busy. I have people in my life who I'm in relationship with, and we're trying to do life together.
Yeah, in
an impactful way, and we're looking to see, who can we help, how can we help, in learning every day. So the noise just isn't there, and I think that's how I do it. I just focus on what I can control. We talk about that in business. When you feel overwhelmed, you got to focus on what you control. And I love Philippians 4:4. We talked about it when we started our meeting yesterday. Don't be anxious about anything, but in prayer and supplication, which, talking about thanksgiving, make your requests known to the Lord. And so I lay that in him. And I think that's how you live your life calmer.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll touch a little bit. Obviously, as a businessman and having the number of employees you do, I'm sure there's a lot of pressure that comes along with that, a lot of stress that can come. How do you balance that stress, that work-life balance of still, being a provider for your family, but also, as a follower of Christ, like we're called to do certain things, kind of talk a little bit about that, kind of that balance of having stress that we all have in work, but also, showing up and providing for your family, showing up and providing for your employees. Kind of talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I think as we get older, we get wiser, right? I remember my father always telling me, and he always relied on God. He always said things will work out, Tone. And I've kind of thought about that, and that's kind of Romans 8:28. All things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and called according to his purpose. There was scripture in what he would say, and it always does work out. I've been through bankruptcy before. In 2006, and that was a very, very tough time. I thought to myself, God, what are you doing, and how can you bring glory to yourself through this?
Wow.
But wow, did he rock my world, because that was the beginning of a lot of business success for me. And so I learned, when I see a dark cloud, it's not necessarily dark. And we have hope, right?
Yeah.
I never give up. I never stop turning over the next stone. We never stop coming up with the next idea. There is pressure for people. Some people, if all the businesses I'm involved with, and I have some without restaurants, if they all went away tomorrow, some people just go to find other jobs. Some people would really get hurt. It would be a big impact on them. They really put a lot in that. And that's difficult. But I'm clear. We work on the things that we can control, and we turn the rest over to God. That's how we deal with it. And when I was a young man, I went home to my kids, and they met me at the door. I learned really quick to leave the work at work, because my little boy or my little daughter did not care about what I was in my mind.
Yeah.
And so I think as we grow older, being a man means being a man, and we've got to let that stuff go, and you can do it with God's help. And I did it. I did do it. And so I like to encourage young men, hey, you can do this, and this is how it's done.
Yeah.
You got to be in God's word, and you guys know a lot of those practices, and you talk about them every week. But if we let the pressure of the world bear down on us, we would all curl up in a ball.
Yeah.
And so we can't do that. That's God. It's most of that stuff, it belongs to God.
Yeah, it reminds me of just you're never as bad as you think you are, and you're never as great as you think you are, right? And so finding that place that, no, I'm just a child of God, and he's in control, and that type of thing. As you're talking, I'm thinking too about a lot of times in the restaurant business, restaurant work oftentimes is a stepping stone to the next place, right? I'm going to work here for a while I'm in college or while I'm in school, and then I'm going to go get my career. And you're going to get a lot of that, right?
Yeah.
But there's some people that say, no, this is going to be my career. And so you invest in them. But I look at it too as you as the owner have an opportunity to invest in everyone. They're not just a number who's ringing out a register or something. And so I've noticed just from us walking around here today, the number of your employees and stuff that appreciate that you're around, that you're talking with them and that kind of thing. And so I think that fares well for the sake that the employees feel valued.
Yeah. I think that's important. I think in a lot of ways, I don't believe I'm all that. And I don't even often think that that's important. And even as an owner, I don't pretend that I do a whole lot of work. I make sure that the restaurant is viable. We work on key things, taking care of customers, finances, food costs, these things that make the restaurant work. They have to be there, right?
Yeah.
So I don't do the hard work. But isn't it interesting, and we need to remember this as fathers and as leaders in our communities, is people do want to be recognized by us, whoever we are. men and women in whatever we do. If we have any type of leadership, it's important because I know I can tell it matters because I get notes from people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I'm just walking in sometimes and what do they care about me? But then people are like, well, we love it when you come here. We like seeing you here and all this stuff. So, we got to really pay attention to that. I think especially as we get older and maybe have some more wisdom or comfort, maybe people can feed off our peace.
Yeah.
Right.
That we're a little bit more comfortable in our own skin. I don't spend a lot of time looking in the mirror anymore. So I'm a little bit more comfortable with who I am. So I think that's important.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So Tony, we're starting to wind things down here a little bit. So thinking about strong dads, thinking about young strong dads, you've given a couple tidbits of information or whatever. What are some last things that if you could talk to the Tony Schroder of 25 to 30 years old, what would you say to him?
Well, I think I am much more of a proponent of families than I've ever been. And finding that special woman is a humongous gift. Mm. And we currently in our society, that's very confused. I do think I'm proud to try to be involved in both men's life to try to help them be the kind of men that they should be. I wish I was that person. Mm-hmm. I remember turning 21 or 22, getting a job and all these men who went to church and things behaved totally different on the road. Mm. And I thought, is this how the world is supposed to be? I guess so. Mm-hmm. And I made some bad choices. But now when I look back, it's really waiting on God, being patient for what God has to my life, trusting that he has that right person for my life. And, wanting to have a family, get involved in a church, have a career. Not everybody has to make lots of money.
Right.
But to live a life within your means and be involved in your community and just live life, right? Celebrate holidays together. Those are the things that I wished I would have paid more attention to because I had a lot more having to accomplish and do things that hold zero meaning to me today. And so I look for opportunities to get together with my friends and family. That's a wonderful thing. And I just wish I would have been more patient waiting on God.
Mm. All right. Yeah, that's good. Good. So what's on the horizon of the next year or two for Tony Schroder or any workings that you're in? Like you got something big coming or anything you want to, breaking news you want to let out to the world?
We get about a million viewers. So
you can lay it all out right now. Lay it all out there. Well, so the next big project we have is right across the street. There's a bank. I think it's from probably the 20s. There's a plaque on the wall. I should know, but my memory's not good. It was an Italian building. It was originally a bank, and then it was the Carpenters Union for years. And my partner, Ernesto, that does all the hard work, he's a young man you've probably met.
Yeah.
And then some other people in our company, including my boys, we're going to open an Italian steakhouse there.
Oh.
And so we're going to have a beautiful patio, and the inside of the building's got a safe in the middle. We're going to leave the safe and try to fit it into what we're doing. And we're going to have an enclosed space that's going to be more Four Seasons. We're going to really work on trying to do that. And so we hope to be done sometime in early 2025.
Okay.
We're just finalizing our drawings and our structure engineered drawings, and we're filing for our permits. And so I hope to be, we already put a new roof and we painted it. It was a little bit of an eyesore. So we went ahead and painted this and so it looks a lot better. And so that's our plan to start working on that maybe sometime in April and then to finish that project.
Is there a name for this restaurant or can you not let that animal out yet?
There is not a name.
Okay.
We have come up with several names, but I don't think we still have a plan. We have some family in Italy. We plan to make a trip to them, get some family recipes, and we have some ideas on some names. So for us, our family went from Verona, Italy to Norwood, Ohio, and we want to show this transition to Lawrenceburg, Indiana.
Okay.
And so that's what we'll be doing. That's our dream, to do a restaurant like that.
That's
So
cool.
that's the next thing that's on the horizon.
All right. So that's something to look forward to, and hopefully the first part of 2025.
Yes, that would be our goal.
All
That's
right.
awesome. That's awesome.
But Tony, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your time.
My
We've
pleasure.
occupied a little bit of your time here today. We appreciate you being willing to do that. Guys, if you want to know more about what it is to be a strong dad, we ask that you reach out. You can get a hold of us at rocksolidfamilies.org. Stuff that you heard today out of Tony and Kyle and myself, none of us walk through this world perfectly. We stumble, we get confused, we get sidetracked by shiny things, right, that grab our eye. But at some point in time, you have to get recentered and know what you're getting recentered on. And Tony, you shared a lot of that. And I know more of your story as to God recentered you very strongly at certain times. And so that's part of the process of going through that purification, right? And so we thank you for sharing that story. And if there's any of you guys out there that are watching or listening, stop living other people's lives, live your own life, and do well by your family, right? I mean, that's where we start. That's where the whole foundation for what us men, for what we stand for, that's where we got to start. So, and you shared that well. So we thank you for that.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much,
All right.
Tony, for coming on the show. Yeah, I think the big takeaway is we're not asking, or God's not asking strong dads to be perfect. Just be present, be active, be involved, be aggressive in that. So
yeah. And come down and visit Proof 124
That's right.
or
Yeah.
Ice House
Yeah.
or 4 Speed on 50 Diner
That's right.
or Hebron Grill.
That's correct.
Right?
Yeah,
All
thank
right.
you.
Yeah. And so go
Appreciate
visit
that.
those, and Tony will take care of you there. So, all right.
Thank you.
Kyle, sign us out.
all right, appreciate you guys. Go out there and be some strong dads.
Casey's is a premier garden center and gift shop located in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Casey's offers a wide selection of plants, landscaping materials, home and garden decor, and gifts for every occasion. Casey's is committed to providing exceptional service, a unique shopping experience, and value to every customer. Stop in and see what makes Casey's so unique. Located at 21481 State Line Road, Lawrenceburg, Indiana, or call 812-537-3800. Let Casey's help you add beauty to your home.